Hang on a second. Alright, chat. Are we live? It's like all my settings just kind of went. I don't even know what happened, but alright. So. Sorry, it took so long to get going. But, alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to be breaking down a 3's game from an i3HL team, which I would say is one of the biggest, most competitive 3's leagues out there to date. They stopped hosting tournaments back in like NHL 22, but it sounds like they're making a comeback either in NHL 25, like later on this year, or they might make a comeback in NHL 26. But this is one of the teams that I guess competed in it before. So as you can see, they're a team that's grinded. We're basically going to break it down. And if you've watched my breakdowns before, this is going to be a pretty unique experience. Why? Because I've never broken down a 3's game before. I've only ever broken down 6's. There's a lot of things that we can go over here. This is basically a very important breakdown because it's basically going to put the concept of everything that I basically talk about into one. That you can apply to 3's, to 2's, to 6's. It's kind of this one big concept wrapped. And if you can understand it, you can basically play any single game. You can play any game mode at all. Like every single game mode. As long as you understand the concept and you can basically apply it to each game mode that you play. So when I look at 3's, and I've done videos of this before, right? Like if you've seen my tips videos, I've basically gone over how to play 3's, but I've never actually broken down a game, like what are the mistakes and things like that. So when I look at 3's, right, there's 3 roles that I basically talk about. They're not necessarily like position bound or like they're not assigned to a certain position, unless it's defense basically. But there's 3 roles that I talk about. I mean, it's mainly tailored towards what I would call basically a winger or a center and defensive role. The winger role is to basically apply pressure and forecheck, which could be the center if you wanted to make that the player. In 3's, it don't matter what position you play in terms of offense. A center could be the primary forechecker. When I was playing NHL 21, that's kind of how that's kind of how we played. We had the center be the main forechecker. The winger was basically playing as like the center role. That's kind of how we played it. But it don't matter here, depending on how you want to do it. But basically, it's still like what I would call the winger role when you're playing 3's. So first things first, the winger role is to forecheck and to apply pressure to the opposing defenseman breaking out the puck. The center role then is to be the guy that gets back on defense. He's the first forward back, and then the last man back is obviously your defenseman. So you can basically look at it, and we'll see how quick these teams play, or this other team plays. You can sort of understand what the role is for each player. So last man back, I'm getting back, supporting through the slot. They work it back to the point. And that's one thing that's key here, is how often they use this man here coming in. So whoever is the winger defensively, the winger role is to cover the point guy. So that's where one of these guys should be up here right now. And then based on where everybody's at, that should be red. Red should be here, playing high. We already have a man mark here. And it's basically man-to-man defense in 3's. So everybody has a man. You want to play tight coverage. You want to take away these one-timers at the point. And obviously we're not doing that. So man-to-man coverage, shot there, and they get it back. And now we see nobody's really properly man marking right now. We have sort of everybody kind of just playing to the slot. We had a tripping call on the play. So they get a breakaway from and they score. But what's very key is the man marking role, right? In threes, you got to be able to man mark. Everybody should have a man in this. So when you're here, in this case, right, you've got a player deep. This player here has got to recognize, hey, you know, we got a quick transition going back the other way because we don't have the puck anymore, which he is doing, right? So man marking here, kind of the way that I see defense from threes is you kind of split the ice in half almost, kind of like this, and you basically take the player that's to your side. So in this case, I mean, it's not necessarily center like vertically, but this guy I'm already man marking here. He's got to race and get ahead of this player here, man mark. And then if you're the guy in the back, you then just man mark the defenseman. So racing back, you see how the problem is, right, is that we didn't have this guy was actually still ahead of this player, so I had to sort of break off this guy. So now I have to treat it like a 2-on-1 briefly. Now if you're this player, you can actually go for this and just kind of switch, because you know you're not going to have the inside. He could have actually switched with me if he wanted to and went this direction, and then I'm basically taking that. So it's kind of like a switch play, which you could do that, right, with your players, right? You can go in and hit this, which is what kind of what he did. We had a back check in place, which he can do. Now we get this puck. Now we're going to start working up. Quick give and go. Now notice how these other guys defend too. You see what they're doing here? Exactly what I'm talking about. They have a high guy, somebody who's basically man marking me, who's also going to be the guy that's going to quickly transition out of the zone too, because you got to think offensively too when you're playing defense, and then you got to think defensively when you're playing offense as well. So man marking here, man marking here. This is actually really tight coverage, which is how you want to play defense. You got a guy man marking me, so there really is no pass option besides trying to force it back door. So now, and you see this guy is already accelerated out. The puck kind of bounced right to him, to be honest with you. So now we have a man mark here. I got to keep him to the outside, and now we have this exact same thing here. So man mark. We have, you know, you can have like a support factor from the high guy, the guy playing to the point. If this guy were to pull away, you could have this guy go for that hit. It's just you got to be aware of this player is in a prime scoring area. Which is the same thing if you look in sixes, right? What wingers do for the team, right, is essentially they help support from the top down. They don't want to go too far down low, but they want to be able to give some sort of back check support, which is what typically happens in sixes, right? So it also happens here in threes. So I'm already hitting them. He could go for this because he, you know, I already confronted the guy. You have a chance to get the puck. It's just unfortunate we didn't get it. Two guys trying to get it. The guy somehow gets up and then gets it, right, like basically right away. We had a sort of brief switch play here where he then pulled away from this guy to then play here. So then now I'm essentially inside leverage, inside. So we're in a pretty good spot defensively. No problem here. I then go for the hit. Then you see we had our player from the point, covering the point, actually help support, which that's kind of what they're able to do. But there's a lot of rotations here, if you can actually see, right? It's like brief moments of man marking, and now we're quickly transitioning back up. So now what happened is we have a simple rotation where now I'm going up, and now you have this player in a rotation for me. So now I'm essentially the forward. You have the winger playing back. Then he goes up, which I guess you can do that. I mean, that's fine, you know. You can have plays where you have your last man back cut to the net, but you see that's mainly from forwards. You don't really see defensemen do that too much. But again, the game is very quick. It's going back and forth. Proper man mark. We got the numbers back. And now he's trying to quickly transition back up. We just failed in the pass to try to react quickly to it. So now we're in this rotation, which is actually a really good play here from Green. But again, you know, now we're man mark, man mark, man mark. We're fine. So you can see sort of the pace going back and forth. But again, this is threes. Back and forth shot. There's that play where you see the guy to the point helps support down low. He broke away from the guy at the point, which is, again, the same thing that you would see from wingers. Of course, he does a reverse hit like a friggin' whatever. So now we briefly switch. They work it back again to the point because we have a guy down. That's kind of just the issue. It's basically a 3-on-2. He's getting a long animation too, which is unfortunate. But a lot of quick action back and forth. Here, we're kind of slow with the break-in. We have to try to find a way to break it or break in, which wasn't able to do that. Again, man marking there. And then he just somehow jams it on the short side. Poke check off the post. I mean, I don't really understand this too much. But it's actually pretty solid defense. So far, we had a penalty in the beginning that led to a penalty shot goal. And then this play where you can kind of say that the goalie should have held short side. I mean, I kept them down low. I mean, it's not like he's cutting to the net, shooting far side. I mean, I poke checked it once. I mean, it's in an area where if he just held the short side, this guy's not getting that. He's taking it to the net because he's hoping he can get a bounce, and the fact that the goalie is off his post and he's not down, right? Trying to shoot it. He's shot at 5-hole on him. So I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? What's up, Mr. Win? Long time no see, man. How's it going? It's going good. What's up, Lee Feisty? What's up, Fentilly? Do I gotta send my games in on Discord to get a game review vid? Yes. So it's in the community Discord in the Clips and Vids channel. If you post the link, the timestamp and all that, you can, then I could do a breakdown for you if you want. I mean, I would say it's not a bad game so far. I mean, but if you notice, we only have one shot on goal. There's not much offense being created from us. And you got to pay attention, too, to how quickly these guys play. So, face-off win, or face-off loss, I guess. There's nobody pressuring this player, which I guess is fine. This is almost like we're trying to emulate a trap in sixes, where you have the winger, instead of forechecking, you have him play back. The issue is in threes, it's like, okay, how do you trap? Because you can't really play lanes so much. It's kind of just like where it's basically like we still have to man mark, but then you just have extra help. But it's like, what's really the purpose for that? It's basically just having them quickly get back to back check already. But it's like, you're not really... It's kind of... It helps, right? With like stopping quick plays in the zone, because there's some teams that like to pull up, find a high slot 1T very quickly into the zone. In my opinion, though, I would just say send somebody to forecheck. I mean, there always should be somebody forechecking, because then it's just straight man-to-man coverage across the board. And then you just take the guy that's on your side. Everybody has a man. If this guy wants to skate up, he can do that. He can do that because there is no pressure. But if he had somebody in his face, he now has to get rid of it early. But if we're already man-marked, which we're not here in this case, that's how they're able to just get this puck up, But like, I personally don't like the whole trap game when it comes to threes. Which, this is what happens when you have that support, because now this player is already here. But like, where did we go here? You know what I mean? Like, that's the question I have. So I mean, if you struggle defensively with being able to man mark, then you can have more of a trap. But I mean, we're down by 2 here, so it's not the end of the world. It's still the first period. I would still say you want somebody to pressure at all times. But it worked out because we had the back check already there, instead of having to try to play tighter with the man mark. But defensively, this is where this other team kind of catches us. Because again, this defenseman in the back is playing it very well. It's man marking over the top. Now it's a quick transition back the other way. And if you notice too, in this case, we don't have the puck. This guy should already be darting back. It should be very quick. Because the thing is, right, what you have to understand from a 3's perspective, and this is where we can start to get into like a 2's concept as well when you're playing 2v2 or 3v3. The winger role, right, is obviously you're pressuring. I'm playing last man back, so the first guy that I have to man mark is this guy. If you're the second guy back, you're basically playing center. Now you have to man mark the second guy. If this guy's darting up, I man mark him. If this guy gets the puck up, somebody's got to man mark this second guy, and that's where the center has to do that. 2-on-1s happen when the center doesn't do that. You had this guy sort of delay. This is where the concept is not really being understood, because it's not about playing the lane. He's trying to play the lane here to get an intercept. This guy's roaming free. Like, it should already be him already in stride playing that. Man marking him while I stay over the top here. Then you can have this guy pressure if he wanted to continue carrying that. We don't have that, so 2-on-1 back the other way quickly. Now I have to try to play over the top. And I was able to do so just enough. He pulled it. He actually had a chance to freaking find the one-timer. Your problem is your guys are not elites? No, we are elites. I mean, actually, no. I think Green is, I think he was a diamond player, but me and Red are both elite ones. Are you still on optional? Yeah, this is the optional team. But we just have a fill-in for... We usually have somebody else playing wing. 2-on-1s happen for when chasing hits. Yeah, typically. Or just not recognizing the quick transition back the other way. Because there always should be one forward darting back. And again, when we get into 2's, which will be a little bit later on, that concept will be much more clear. Because if you play 2's and you master the 2's concept, it makes 3's that much easier. Zest, my personal experience, if they are running a man coverage, I always tell my D-man to dump it around the boards to create havoc. Players make the mistake of not using the boards. Wait, I don't even know what happened here. Okay, so this is where the man mark becomes a little bit out of whack. So again, this is actually where the problem comes in. Because when you talk about defense, a lot of people say, a lot of people think, well, all you have to do is just look at just hold the slot. They're not really understanding the man-to-man coverage. Because this is blown coverage here. if you notice it. I think we played another game previous to this one, and we had the exact same issue of this. And this is just not understanding the man mark. So based on where we're at, I'm man marked to the guy down here. So the slot is me essentially holding the slot against this guy, number 69. Somebody has to pick up this guy. It can't be me. That I don't. The problem is, right, a lot of people would assume that I would have to break off this guy to then play this other guy driving in. No, that's not how that works. Because technically you could say, oh, well, this guy cuts in, I take him, and then this guy then takes this guy, right? And then he takes it. And not really. Because it's not really, it's kind of confusing. If I'm just always holding slot and I just take whoever's cutting in. Because again, you could find that window where if he cuts in a little bit and he's taking them here, how do you expect me to go all the way there? You know what I mean? Like, if they found that quick, there's no way I could play two guys at once. If I'm already stocked up here, you can't expect me to then also play this guy when he cuts in. Somebody has to just follow him. And all it takes is, if he wants to be the guy to pressure, based on where he's at, you just have him stay down low and follow his movements across. This is how it actually should be. you have two guys essentially. You see how they thread the needle? Because we're not actually locked on to the guy. And honestly, the way you should actually play defense from how I'm looking at it, it's kind of like, again, the point guy, when you kind of look at like 6's, for example, the winger essentially plays, again, he plays to the point, or the wingers play to the point, right? They got their little box. I know this is kind of confusing, but they kind of have their little box here, right? I kind of think like this is what I would say the quadrants of the wingers are. Is literally the top half, top point, right? But if you're playing like PK, for example, you would have essentially just the point. Like the whole point is yours when you're on the PK. You have one guy pressuring high. That's kind of exactly what's happening here, right? And then the way that I would look at defense from 3s is essentially two guys that are playing defensemen. So anything that is like from here and here is essentially what the two guys have to take. If you split it down the middle, you got the guy to the point. He's taking anything up top here. Now this is a 3s concept that I'm talking about. This is how it technically should be, as long as he stays on to this guy, of course. Then if this guy goes here, I can take him, and we're essentially dividing the ice in half. We're still anchoring the slot, but you just take the guy on your side. The guy to the point then just mirrors the guy at the point. That's all he has to do, and then he can help back check as well. So from a certain lens, right, I get pulled onto this guy. If we do that, then technically this is my guy, or you know, technically this isn't my concern. I should be to this guy if I was over here, but the reason I'm getting pulled over is because I don't see the tight coverage here. Because let's say he makes the pass here to this guy, he can just drive in, take a short side shot or whatever, right? That's kind of how this sort of becomes an issue. Kind of how it becomes an issue a little bit, because this isn't really understood. It's not talked about. When I was playing defense, just so you know, this entire concept I've had in my mind since NHL 21, how to actually play defense. Like, it's kind of how I broke it down. I think if you go back, the very first defensive video that I made was in NHL 21 playing 3v3, how to play team defense or whatever. You know, it was, and I would talk about taking the man on your side. The guy at the point just shadows the guy at the point. He can play, you know, he can play support from the top down and things like that. So this is just man-to-man coverage that we were not picking the man. And how that translates to 6 is, you know, it's essentially the same thing. The guy takes a side, the other defenseman will take the other side, and then you just take, you know, you're not playing man-to-man coverage across the board. You just take whatever man cuts your way. Now, if they wanted to like switch, for example, and let's say it was like they did a little freaking rotation. Let's see, how do I don't even know how to really explain it. No, let's say they did this, and it was kind of like that type of rotation. If you're playing that half, right, I would switch from taking this guy to then taking this guy, because he's cutting towards my zone. You know what I mean? It's basically making a triangle with the point pointing up. It's not making a triangle like upside down almost. We're making an upside down triangle based on just how they're playing. But ideally, it's kind of like this. And you take whatever side, like whichever guy's taking your, cutting to your zone. It's the same as if you're playing 6s. It's, you know, if you're a defenseman, you take this guy. If he cuts this way, then you let the winger take him, and then you take anybody else that's cutting back your way. You don't follow him to the point, right? Doesn't make any sense to do that. So it's the same exact defensive zone coverage that you would have in 6s. It's just man to man through, like, what are the zones when you're playing defense in 3s. So you know, that's kind of how you should play it. So that's where even if they were to rotate, you could still play to your zone. You're not following him crazily. And plus then it becomes easier to like hold the slot because you're not trying to mirror the movements of them constantly. That's where the issue comes in as well. My team needs to do this. I sit in goal all the time and get 20 shots on me in one period. Chasing is the curse of players. Wheels on top, yes. Reasons no balance on defense besides D-men. Really talk to my team about this concept. You want them to come to you, not go to them. Exactly. And plus, like, you can, like, you want to, like, and anticipate like what kind of plays they're making, right? So if you're just taking the player and you're in your zone, you can kind of like hold your ground a little bit. If you're constantly chasing and trying to hold inside constantly, it's like you can't play man-to-man and all, like, you can't play man-to-man all day. It's just not possible. You have to eventually break away from the guy if he's not in a prime scoring area. Like, if you're patient, that's where you can jump routes and stuff like that. You can't really do that if you're just like trying to follow him to literally every single area. It's not really possible. All right, so offensively, all right, actually, yeah, let's take a look at the defense here from the other team. Because you see what they're doing. Man mark, man mark. Some guys covering me, right? Some guys playing high. This guy's already on him. He sees where he's at. Just see if they ever break coverage. I mean, honestly, wow. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I mean, unless you want to play that way. Because he literally followed them right to the net from the point. You're talking about this guy Life here. I mean, that's like perfect defense down to a T. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So they have a guy. Wow. Okay. Man marks stay over the top. We're kind of like, all right. 2-on-2. Now they're back, so we gotta create some speed. We're in it. So now they're, yeah, so exactly the concept that they're doing. They knock the guy to the point. I then drop down, so I'm basically playing, you know, a forward. This guy's down. He's basically playing last man back, but he's down, so you have to sort of be aware of that. Now there is no defenseman help. So what I did is I kind of just broke away from the play because there's not really much that I can do. If we don't get this putt, or if we don't score here, then that would have put him in a very tough spot. Now, technically, I should have actually stayed up because it's not like he wouldn't have been able to recover. I kind of just stayed to the point. And then now I cut. It's like, okay. So we basically did the same thing. So there's a mini rotation that took place here. He basically became last man back or defenseman. Then I became the forward on the play and I cut to the net. So I'm basically switching positions, and they did not see that. That's one of the only times where I think we broke their defense was from that rotation. So I think actually we did a play earlier where we had Green cut to the net when I took the puck from the right boards. So it seems like this team doesn't do well when it comes to like quick rotations. They're not actually properly man marking. And that's where, again, if you're playing the zones, you're not worried about necessarily always sticking onto a man. Plays like that can happen if you're only trying to play man-to-man coverage like across the board. I think that's actually, honestly, what this other team's trying to do. They're picking a man and they're just trying to follow them constantly. So now here we have Green playing the center role. We had a back check from Red. One-timer is only one of the few times where you utilize the point. Now they're not man-marking me. They had a guy chase, which led up for a one-timer at the point. Again, these one-timers are powerful. Like, they're actually good scoring chances. You don't want to give them up. especially this year now with how defense, or yeah, with how powerful the 1T is. And here they go. So again, we're not man marking it either. We have 3 guys racing to the slot. It's fine if you want to do that. You got to have somebody who's patient to the point and recognizes where this guy is. You can play to, you know, from the top down if there is nobody at the point that's even, you know, that has a prime scoring chance. It's only like when you see the prime scoring chance. Now it's like if I was like on my game, I would be here. Like if I was red, I would be here. I would throw maybe 1 poke check out, and then I would immediately race to the slot. That way, if this or race back to the point, and then if this guy gets it, I could potentially jump the route and take away the lane. Because again, sometimes all you need to do from like a support factor is just poke check once just to kind of keep the guy at bay, and then you can jump some other play because you know they're not gonna like. It's sometimes just allowing your player to get back into the frame. So like if we go back a little bit. He sort of was beat. If he turned and shot this, you know, green is sort of like he overextended a little bit. This guy turns and then he could potentially shoot. If you're a support factor, you support from the top down and you can play that short side temporarily. He kind of pulled again because he saw red where red was. That allowed green to get back into the frame, back on the inside. That's where you would want red to then dart back to the point. Like it's the mini details of each like role on the ice. It's not even like tailored towards your like what based on what you play, like him being red or him playing center, him playing wing. It's who's taking the role on the ice. If you're playing the top, the point man, you can play to the, you know, you have to know how you could be that proper support factor, and then how you could then transition to being the first guy down the ice. That's kind of how you have to be. The guy in the middle, the center role, how he can play, you know, opposite the defenseman, and, you know, taking the guy, you know, helping the defenseman out with the second guy that's joining the rush. If that even makes sense. But here it's like, all right, we can clearly define who the last man back is, who the second guy is, and who's, you know, playing up top. We have green now is playing in the rotation of my spot. He's playing last man back. He kept to the inside until we got back into the frame. It's not just about playing to the slot, though. Here we go again with another. This tells me that nobody's man marking the point because they don't think it's important enough to stop. In my opinion, there's a lot of offensive chances that are being missed because we're not playing the point. We could be intercepting the puck and going back the other way on a freaking breakaway. That's what I see. Like, you don't have to have a designated chase guy. You could literally just have, like, whoever is playing the point can, again, just support temporarily, but then he's then going to try to transition very quickly. There's nobody man marking to get to the point. They're just taking it. Now they get a rebound. Now we can't transition effectively enough because we have the full pressure against. Now, if we were to move to 6's, for example, now let's take a look at 6's, because it's basically the same thing. I kind of just like, I just kind of picked I think the last time that we played 6's. How does this like translate then to 6's? I'm trying to see if I can find like a decent like understanding. So 6's is played a little bit different. Some teams prefer to trap, so that is kind of like the same thing of what I was saying before about the 3's trap. It's like you really can't play 3's trap so much. So 6's trap is sort of different, where you'd have now the wingers are playing to the boards, and then you've got these guys taking the lanes through the middle. As a center, I'm taking obviously the centerman usually. You've got obviously then the wingers were man marking that, or not really man marking, but playing from the outside leverage. Here we don't actually have a proper trap as I'm seeing. we're kind of in a mix of like wanting to pressure than not. Kind of all over the place, to be honest with you. I'm not even gonna let's see. So forecheck in. So it's the exact same idea here, though. The way that you can translate 3s into 6s is by essentially taking this, everything that takes place on one half of the ice, and then just expanding it. That's just basically what you're doing. This is exactly the same thing if it was full ice. So you have your guy pressuring the point, or pressuring the defenseman, and then you have your second guy, the centerman in 6s, taking the second guy up the ice. Your defenseman then should technically be here, and he's man marking that. It's the exact same thing if it's from a forecheck standpoint, and this is typically how I actually want to play. That's how it translates to 6s. Now that's just like a temporary, look, and you can create offense that way. You're just adding 2 guys on the opposite side. You're just expanding the ice that way. If we go back to 3s, let's actually just break down the rest of this game, or the rest of this period, and then you can translate how that actually goes into a 2's concept, because 2's is actually more important than 3's when you're talking about trying to build yourself as a player. If you understand the 2's concept, it makes 3's that much more easier to understand. All right, so defensively, again, we don't have a man mark to the point. I just don't like this. I really just don't like it, because you're giving them an outlet every time. That right there is basically like pressure relief valve is essentially what that is, to the point. That alleviates pressure. So then they can they extend the play for a few more seconds. Which again, they did not manage it properly. If this guy controlled the puck a little bit better, he wouldn't have forced that pass, because there's 2 guys in the fucking lane. But again, we don't have, like, this guy could have drove right to the middle of the ice. Or at least done something to, like, extend the play. You try to force that pass back. That's how we were able to pick it off. So again, offensively, I'm jumping up. We have a guy playing back. So again, the exact same thing that's happening here. We now have Red playing last man back. He's pressuring. I'm playing the second man. I'm taking the center role. The center role just takes the second man up the ice. Last man back takes the first guy up the ice. The winger, forechecking, plays the third guy up the ice. That's basically how you should, like, that's how you man mark. That's how you see, like, who takes what. What role are you taking, and then, you know what I mean? That's how you're able to establish who your man is. Let's see. Here, I don't know what I don't know what happened there, but and then I mismanaged that, which is the only problem there. I think this is the only goal that we gave up. So this is where I was playing. Again, this is where, if you are playing the point, as soon as this guy cuts to the middle, that's where you can play here and then, like, support that a little bit. You know what I mean? As long as I'm man marking properly. But there is no other way that this guy could help out. Now, unless you just want to have this guy play here. But then again, you just give them so much time, and there's nobody that could transition very quickly back up the ice. That's the only issue there. Yeah, sorry if I'm not reading your messages here. What if the offense vacates the zone to overload another? You stand there not covering anyone, or slide into the overloaded zone to match up? Wait, hang on. What if the offense vacates a zone to overload another? Like 2 guys? Well, then you would just slide the other guy over. So you would still man mark the slot. Like, if you had 2 guys in the same zone, first of all, that's not proper offense, because, like, you have 2 guys literally right next to each other. You could technically have the guy just stay there, because it's like, all right, well, they're eventually going to try to set up something where then they separate. Just have, like, you could either play closer to that guy, or you could just play off if you want, because there is no deadly threat, right? Because there's 2 guys in the same exact area. So quickly here. All right, now we're trying to, yeah, breakouts for us. I don't know what the hell happened here, but like, it's like we didn't manage the puck properly at all throughout this game. We either didn't have a quick transition back up, or it was just something. We weren't skating with enough speed or something. This is like the only chance we're getting, and that's just from the back check. So we have a guy playing there. This is where the winger and the defenseman could jump up because there's two guys in the same area. So I guess this is the same exact thing where kind of the same thing where you have two guys now here, if that's what you mean by overload. And it's like in the winger's you know, area, but you could still have these guys pressure. This guy's staying home, man marking this. Two guys that can go into that. We can hopefully get the bounce, and we did. That was how we were able to get that. Now, you can clearly define like who the winger is, the center is, and the defenseman. Now, when you look at it from 2'S, for example, the reason 2'S is so important is because, first of all, there's only two of you guys out there. But you actually take on an extra role every single time you're playing. So what you have to understand about 2'S is, first of all, this player right here, this AI, cross him out. He is not relevant to the game at all. If he does, the only thing he's good for is just to be a presence on the ice. That's it. He may be able to get the puck and pass to you and things like that, but he's not going to be doing anything that's going to help you advance the game. That's going to help you somehow gain the edge over the other team. A lot of teams, like when they lose, they're like, oh my God, Jackson sucks, Lee sucks. No, these guys are not relevant in the game. You do not have them take any role, because again, when you look at 3's, you look at, all right, who's going to take the winger role? Who's going to take the center role? Who's going to take the defenseman role? This player does not take that. Does not take any of these roles. You cannot have the... You can't have this player take the defensive role, because you'll lose every time. They're not able to man mark appropriately. They're not able to do any of that. So you do not allow them to take it. What you basically do in 2'S is you have an offensive role, right? Let's just have OOFF, whatever. Defensive role. And what you do is you take the center role and you cut it in half. If I can actually hit the center of the... Yeah, you basically cut it in half. So the offensive role takes this. The defensive role takes this. You're basically dividing the center role in half. And each of you takes a role. That's what 2'S is. The reason that's so important is, for one, if you look at it from the gameplay perspective, we're playing defense here. We have essentially... Well, actually, defense is not... This is kind of a game where we were just kind of screwing around, to be honest with you. I wasn't actually taking it serious. But you see, as I'm playing the offensive role here, I'm leaving the zone early. He's playing the defensive role. I'm playing the offensive role. So I'm leaving the zone early. I'm playing winger. That's the first guy out of the zone. When you get this puck, you try to quickly find this guy, right? Streaking. Off the board. So I'm the first guy getting the puck, which is the winger role. And I passed to Jackson for some reason. That didn't have any fucking stamina. But as you can see, what we're doing here, we're the first two guys back. So based on how this play panned out, we actually temporarily switched roles. So I'm playing last man back, as this is the first guy out of the zone. I'm trying to man mark him, essentially. And then he would eventually take him. So we're going to man mark the human players, obviously. Now, just watch as the game kind of moves forward here. As you see, he gets the puck. I'm the first guy leaving the zone. So I'm the winger on the play. You have him playing the center role. Or we're basically both winger and center at this point. We don't really have a designated role here. We're trying to set up offense. What you have to understand, when you're playing 3's, right? You have... The two guys are in the offensive zone. when you're playing 3v3, what do you have? You have defenseman help. So let's say everybody's a human player. Let's say this guy gets the puck, he swings it to this guy. Your teal player picks that guy up. And then I could pressure, you know, you would have this guy take, you know, go towards the puck. If this guy were to turn, right, you would have this, that. This guy takes this guy, I go in for the puck. That's kind of how you do it. But when you're playing twos, this guy is not taken into account. So let's say he gets the puck. You're now playing... You now have this guy is the first guy back. So you have to be the first guy out. You have to be the first guy back for your team. I mean, this team is not very quick with their transition, but... You basically have to fill two roles at the same time. You see how I'm leaking early? So again, I'm basically... I mean, to be honest with you, this concept didn't really make sense until he actually explained it to me. The way that these... I actually don't play twos that much. This is actually usually Fentilli's spot. So when Guav is playing, they have him play back, and they have Fentilli basically play the offensive role. Like the first guy, you know, like him playing high. And the way, I don't know, the way he was explaining twos to me was that basically this player doesn't play defense. Because obviously you're not going to play the, you know, if you're playing 3v3, you would have this guy cover the point. Well, you're not going to pass to Lee or Jackson, right? You're not going to pass to this guy if you're playing twos. You're only going to be passing to the two human players. So this guy doesn't even play defense. Now, personally, I think that you need this guy to sort of play and help out if they're like controlling the play like down here. But I think we'll see if we can get to that. But you see, right? He's playing defense because what is he doing? He's basically taking this puck and sending it to the furthest guy up, or basically me. So he's basically just, as a defenseman, you play lockdown defense, last man back. When you get the puck, you try to make a quick, solid breakout pass to, if you can find, you know, to anybody that's open. So you're gonna try to find your offensive guy. Defense to offense. Quick send up. I'm behind the defense. I could take it right to the net. I had a chance to score. If I actually knew how to score, you know, that could have been another goal. So again, I'm just one-on-one. The way these other guys are playing it is actually really bad because, again, you're relying on the AI to play defense on a human player, which is just not going to happen. So we actually get around and we're able to score. Like, this is... They're trying to play twos like 3v3. You can't do it.
Not as good, but, you know, it's something.
So 2v2 is actually much harder to play than 3v3. Because you have to manage offense and defense. You have to manage straight man-to-man covers basically the whole time, like one-on-one the entire time. And that's different because, again, if I was gonna try to play threes, if I was gonna try to play that winger role, if I'm forechecking, I would just go straight up here and forecheck this guy. This guy turns, you would have you'd have your defenseman play to that man, and that's man-to-man mark here. But you can't do that because you can't rely on this player to play back. So now you have to have your two other guys play back. So they're playing both center and defenseman. Whenever the other team gets the puck, when you're on offense, then you have center and winger. So again, I'm leaking early. I'm playing wing, essentially. Didn't have a nice clean breakout pass, but you guys can sort of see the concept as we're playing offense. When they get the puck, you see how he's already ready to get back on defense after the initial rush. So he's playing offense. He's playing offense to then immediately in an area where he can get back on defense in case we didn't get that puck again. Which, if you're playing threes, you don't have that sometimes. Because you would have these players stay into the zone because you can trust your teal defenseman. You can't trust an AI to play defense for you. You can't. So you have to have that recognition when you're on offense to then, all right, I have to get back and play defense.
No, I got full bar.
So you see how the man mark here, we're man marking the human players. Human players. He's playing defense. I'm playing center, essentially. Basically what it is. We get this puck, and now he's transitioning to offense. I'm playing back in case we don't get the puck. We don't get the puck. Man mark here. The only issue is now he's going to race up, but you can have a back check in place and be fine with that. We're fine. We're fine. He played the lane. We're there. Try to quickly send it. And actually, that was actually a hell of a pass. If I had the quicker recognition there, I could have went here, and he would have done a spinorama and found me. That's how quick of a rotation it could be. If you master this type of rotation, first of all, yeah, I was just a step behind on that. You could take it to any single game mode. You could do this in 6s too. You have that sort of recognition. Okay, that was poor fucking defense there, but we don't really care because I think, yeah, again, we weren't really giving a crap in this game because this is like towards the end of the night. So again, we get the puck. Now we're offense. Both of us are playing offense. One's playing wing, one playing center. Almost had it. Now the only issue was that they had a quick transition back the other way with only a couple seconds left.
How was that not a penalty?
But basically, right there, we didn't get the puck. You would have to have this guy dart back very quickly in hopes that we get the puck. Because the puck is bouncing this way, so I'm going to go engage on that. You have to have a forward, then play back. I think he was held up a little bit too. That's why the rotation was kind of slow. But there's only a few seconds left.
That's high.
So you see we're playing offense. Some way with a score. So basically what 2'S teaches you to do is basically, if you can master it, is you essentially master the transition game. The how quick that you basically have to transition between the zones. When you're playing 3s, again, it gets easier because you don't have to do so much all the time, or you don't have to be super quick with the rotation. In 3s, you have help from a defenseman. In 2s, you don't. So you have to fill that role. That's where 3s becomes a lot easier. And then now, all right, how do you figure that out in terms of 6v6 then? Because if you get into the mindset, like let's say you're coming from 2s to then play 6s, and you understand at least where you have to be in terms of 6s, what you understand is how to get back very quickly, and then how to transition very, very, very quickly. And a lot of times what teams lack is the quick rotation back up, or the quick transition back on defense. They don't understand just how fast that they would have to be in terms of offense. They have a one-timer there. And what really puts it into perspective is the idea of rotations on the ice. A lot of teams don't understand just how many rotations happen in the game. So ideally, right, when you're playing 6s or even just any game mode, if you notice in the 3s game how many rotations we had, where it was many times where you had the center play or you had red play the center role, then he was playing the winger role, then you had green essentially do the same thing when they're quickly rotating the roles. Essentially it's the same thing here, right? In a very quick rotation here where I'm pressing here, and then he's going to dart up and fill that gap. So this is where you have the idea of defensemen jumping up into the play. So now what is yellow doing? He's playing center temporarily. You have the wingers playing wings. I'm in a rotation as the center. I'm in a rotation with yellow. We basically flip-flop roles here. It's the same thing. Center, wing, defense. If you can understand the concept very quickly, you can transition, and it happens on the fly. And you can create offense that way. You can then still play defense appropriately. We had a sort of a little bit of a slow rotation back. Because here, we're in a pretty decent spot. We just got caught with trying to keep the play alive here. Because he was in front of it, which I can definitely understand. If this guy translates back up, you would want yellow then to translate with him. So that we can properly man mark here. Because again, in 2s, the center takes the first guy back. In 3s, the center takes the second guy. And then in 6s, the center takes the third guy. And here, we're in a rotation. Yellow's playing my role. He's supposed to take the third man. We're here. We're here. Only reason it's a 3-on-2. Because the center didn't man mark the center. And I kind of played defense horribly there, but that's a whole nother point. But if you can understand the rotation of the game, that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. And again, this is like I think the first time we've played 6s in some time, so I don't even think like we kind of look sloppy, to be honest with you. But it's honestly the little details. So if you notice here, blue got hit. I'm now filling his role as a winger. So I'm pressuring and I'm playing. Or actually, not really, to be honest with you. I'm technically still in a position to play center if I wanted to, because they actually had 2 guys, but they had like 3 guys back. Right? Like you. Let's say blue wasn't hit here and he was like still engaged, or maybe he's where yellow is. We're actually in a pretty decent spot in terms of man marking. If you had green stay here, if this was blue, we still have the man, like we still have the numbers back. You got teal, he's all the way in the bottom here, man marking that. You would have him man marking there. You still actually had the numbers if you wanted the forecheck, but then we all peeled away. Then we had green go back up from the frame. He was like all the way back to then. I'm gonna go and press. So I mean, you have to tell we don't look as like, you know, strict with our defensive positioning. And wait, how the hell did this happen? Oh, it's got to be like lag or something with green. I'm pretty sure he was lagging too, because we actually should have had a 3-on-1 here. You see where green's at. It was actually a pretty decent spot. Then he just has to quickly go back up. He like took a little too long to go back up. So again, the transition game, how quick you can play. Let's say you're playing center or you're playing wing. It's again, this guy gets the puck. If you noticed in 2s, right, when the player that was back got the puck, he's playing defense. As you can see how it translates to 6s. Now this guy is the defenseman getting the puck. No different than if you were 2s as the defensive role, getting the puck, finding the offensive guy, the winger in 6s, or you know the high your other teammate, the winger, the offensive guy getting the puck. How quick you can go from here to then all of a sudden darting back up. That's literally what trains you. That's how it trains you to be successful with the transition game. So 2s is very important to play. And I would say if you're brand new to the game, and you don't necessarily have somebody to play with, what your goal should be is to find one other player to play with, if you can. If it's your best buddy or whatever, somebody that can commit to the game with you. And all you got to do is just play 2s for a long time. And just understand the transition game with 2s. And the role of 2s, essentially. If you can do that, then you can move to 3s, and it would make that mode a lot easier than when you move to 6s. And again, this is all like you get a lot of reps in each mode. You can very easily then play 6s. You can very easily then play at a high level in each game mode. The only issue is when It's like a lot of guys either are only 6's players or are only 3's players, or they make the transition to the opposite game mode and they don't know how each thing applies. Like, the concept of 2's applies to every single game mode. So if you understand that, it makes the game that much easier. 6's is easy. I'm Elite 1 in both 6's and 3's. Well, so am I. But, I mean, I'm not elite in 6's, but that's only because I don't play pubs. But I've definitely played more 6's games than I have 3's. Actually, how the hell did this happen? Again, you can't look at too harshly at the 6's. I'm only trying to just give us some kind of, like, visual. Yeah, we just kind of over pursued there. We're actually in a pretty decent spot. How the frick did he get behind everybody? He just reacted late to it. But honestly, like, the way that I would want to play, man. I mean, like, again, when the amount that I've played 6's this past, like, year and, like, 2 years, 3 years. You know, I've kind of gotten fun with, like, oh yeah, let's play trad defense and things like that. I would rather just have it play more like of a forecheck, because if you can master a forecheck and you understand the rotation of how quickly you have to go back up the ice, it makes the game, I feel like, it limits time and space with the other team. It makes just, I don't know, the game just like, it just makes you that much quicker. Let me see something quick here. Yeah, so this is one of those instances, right, where if you're this player now, you see where I'm at. The way it translates for like wingers too. Again, if you play 2's, you understand the role of a winger and center. This player has to understand then that he needs to be the first forward back because I'm deep into the zone. A center isn't always going to be playing that center role. A winger's not always going to be playing the winger role. You have to be able to flop roles very quickly. And here, if he understands the rotation, he's going for this hit. I mean, it's not bad actually, because technically we're in a decent spot. It's just how quick they get back up the ice. Like, nobody's really taking G here in the middle, which technically should have been blue because there wasn't somebody that was already back. Still man marked it fine. Oh, the one-timer's there. Bang, right there. He has a goal 1T too. So again, another rotation. How did that rotation happen? Yeah, I just saw yellow go up, so I played back. As soon as I see a defenseman jump up ahead of me, I'm like, all right, is there anyone behind me? No. I'm going to be the last guy back, or the defenseman. So I go for the hit, which wasn't bad because I had the inside. We were fine defensively. If you notice here, right, the reason now I went for this hit is because we had the inside cover. So now he's ahead of him. You would want Teal, if Teal wanted to play tighter coverage, he could be like here. And now what do they have? They have nothing. He finds Mole across the ice, right? If Teal was closer, he would have gotten that puck already. So again, man marked there. But since we didn't man mark, they drive all the way to the net. But you can see how sloppy we are a little bit. But again, I mean, this you can't take too much, too harshly. But I don't know. That's kind of just like what I'm looking at. We still have like third period here if we want to break down this, just to kind of put it together, I guess. So now, if you've watched up to this point, which I highly appreciate if you have. I know I feel like I've been kind of spinning in all different directions playing or throughout this, which is typically how it is for me for some reason. Because I don't really have like a friggin' template of what I'm going off of basically when I'm like breaking down film. And kind of like try to like see which role is what in your head, and see if you can beat me to it. You have obviously green playing the winger role. I'm playing back. You have red playing center because I was hit. I was temporarily up. We have green pressuring. This is fine. We're in a decent spot here. I'm man marking back. Perfectly fine of red to press that. And I'll back up the ice very quickly. We're in our proper spots here. No problem here. Trying to find offense. You can work it back to the point if he wants. Might find back door. And then we had a penalty because I think of an interference in front. Trying to get a one-timer. See how the play pans out. So now I'm playing the breakout man. I'm still there. It's fine if I control the puck and like I find somebody else driving. Perfectly fine. There's no rotation here. Decent pass, decent shot. Who's back? I mean, technically we should have pressured that more, right? You had green. Green pulled away. He didn't have to. This is also something about forechecking as well that you have to understand too, is that you don't have to just like, I mean, again, depending on how you want to play it, some guys like to pressure and then get back, where it's like they'll only advance towards the puck here if they have like a lane, like if they're already, I don't know, if they have speed towards them, I guess, if that makes sense. Like if they have a motion towards them, but then as soon as there's distance created, so when he turned away, that kind of created some distance away from green. Then green decided to just push back. Now, obviously, we're down in this game. You would want then green to push, right? Because we're down by 2. We need offense. If, let's say, green stayed on it, and this is the whole idea, the concept of forechecking as well, is let's say there is distance created, and this guy kind of went like this. Let's see it again. So green's trying to press. There's nothing wrong with like staying on this plane and just following where he goes. So if he turns this way, you could just shadow him. He's gonna turn back the other way, you can just shadow him. Keep this guy from advancing past that plane. So this guy is not gonna move past here. He has to make some kind of pass that's going to quicken the tempo of their breakout. He obviously can't take a stride or two this way to then find somebody late. That's the whole concept of forechecking. You kind of just get in their way. You stop them from being able to just turn and freely make a play. Let's say green stayed on that. That guy would not have been able to clap bomb it because he would have been stationary with the poach or with it. And then it's an easy poach check for green. Now it's icing, sure, whatever. But I mean, that's just piss poor on them. So who's taking what role? Here, it's not really clearly defined, but there should be somebody designated to take the role. Let's say we're in the situation here. We should understand, all right, who's going to be the primary forechecker? Who's going to be the guy that primarily stays back? If we're in like a neutral spot, you want somebody to kind of dictate the turns. We want this to be predetermined. Unless there's a reason for a rotation to take place. If let's say green is the primary forechecker, you want him like in the spot to then press, and you want him to try to recognize it quick. So we're in like a situation where okay, it's not really clearly defined who's going to be the guy back because nobody's really advancing into the zone. Green press, like all right, he stays back now go. It's not really my job to do it, even though I am ahead of him. We're in this spot where green can do that, and I could take the guy back. We're kind of man marking properly here. We're a little bit risky with red sort of playing it the way he was. But that's the problem. Like adding an extra body doesn't necessarily increase your chances of getting the puck. You have to understand that. There's a little bit of a patience game there. So now there's a rotation. I'm playing the center. You got red playing last man back. He's still playing last man back. Now I'm playing winger. Now you have the green playing center. Rotation. Green's playing center. Red's playing back. I'm back into the frame. There isn't really a clearly defined rotation back with anybody, so I could have technically played a little bit closer. The only issue here is that nobody really came with me to the point. So I'm trying to temporarily play back. I could have probably taken a better pursuit there. But I'm now in between two guys, and now there's nobody who's actually there's nobody advancing to the puck carrier with me. Here, again, there's nobody to the point. So now when they get it to the point, you're now able to extend the offensive play, almost score there. That's the only issue with not man marking the point, especially with how often they're using it. There needed to have been more of a tight point coverage, which I think when I was playing, when we were playing this game live, I was trying to say that we need more of a tight point. We need somebody to play to the point, and there wasn't that rotation taking place. But here's where, because we're down, you need to forecheck constantly. You need to have tight point. You need to be essentially on it like crazy to create offense. Somebody needs to be staying on the puck here now, even now. So I'm trying to do that. So, I mean, we're doing a good job with the back check. The guy's staying last minute back. We're just not able to get the bounces our way in terms of offensive zone. Because I will say this period is definitely a lot better in terms of us getting shots. Because I think we only had, like, what, 6 shots through the first 2 periods or something like that? I don't know what happened with... I don't know why we stopped back checking, to be honest with you, but that's a whole nother thing. All of a sudden, I'm the only guy defending 2 guys. I don't know if he was just trying to conserve his stamina. He didn't have any, so it's kind of tough. Like that's the whole reason why we rotate too, is because we don't always have like full bar, right? So usually a defenseman who's playing back is going to have full bar versus the forwards. That's in 6s, that's in 3s, that's everything. So that's how you can rotate positions very quickly as well. You could have a defenseman jump up because he's at full bar. He has a greater chance of quickly being able to fill a lane with speed versus somebody who's at half bar or less. So now I'm playing offensive role. I'm still playing offensive role, and then there was actually a quick rotation there. Green now in this case is playing last man back. Unfortunate. Now he has no help. We lose the puck. There's nobody back. That's where it's the only issue there. Now again, I'm playing offensive role. I'm playing center, wing. It don't really matter. We're on offense. Green's playing last man back again. We couldn't man mark that appropriately. We didn't seem like we kind of collided, but then we stopped again. Like you got readily stopping me from skating. That's even worse, right? But I mean, like, I was like hard staring at us, right? But you could kind of see the other team, how they played. If we take a look at just this last minute, just how good of a defensive play that they, like, last one back, tight covers there. You got a guy playing to the point. You see how he's sort of, able to quickly transition back up. You have this guy playing a second man. Now he's back. You see how they're man marking us? There's a man on man constantly. Bang, bang, bang. So that's how good of a defensive play that they had. This is exactly the type of defense that I'm talking about. If you stare at this player here, watch his movement the entire time. He's playing center. He's playing offense. Second guy up into the play. Second guy back. Z's back. Second guy back. Man mark whoever's in your lane. You cut this in half. Take a man. Inside leverage. You have one guy pressuring our breakout man. So now man to man coverage. They're skating away, shadowing us, keeping us to the outside, keeping us from being able to straight line. When they get a poke check, they get it. Now quickly transition back up. Now you had a quick rotation with the defenseman jumping up. Now these guys are playing offense. This guy's playing last man back. 2-on-1 because of that. You see he recognizes that, so he's back. 2-on-1. Offense, bang. This guy's again playing the second guy back. He's already playing last man back. He's the primary forechecker on the play. Let's see how they man mark. He's playing... Takes his lane. I don't know why he went for that, but okay. And then that's how offense actually could have been created from us. If you had a very quick here pass, the reason that is let up is because this guy decided to go in for the hit as well. He didn't have to do that. He has to just see, all right, there's nobody taking his lane, right? Or there's nobody, behind the play. You have your second guys behind everybody. So he can play home, last man back, guard the cookies. he decided to go engage. But if he had stayed here, it's an easy man mark situation again. If he was right here, he could play me. He plays that because now we're starting to fill the lane. Now you had him sort of in a 2-on-1. He then tries to back check, but I mean, I don't know where these guys are going. Now I don't know where they're going, but it's like you see how now offense is created. No, nobody's man marking appropriately. So that's how offense is being created. So even when you look at it from the reverse look, there's still some mistakes being made in terms, you know, based on how I see it. And plus, again, we got a few more shots there. But again, no quick rotation. We have 3 guys up, but we need 2 goals, so it makes sense to do that. Game's basically over. Couldn't get it. Now, what was I saying?
That went in.
Let me see if I understood what I was supposed to recap from that, because again, there were some things that I was saying live. I know for a fact during the game I was saying we need to have more of a tight point coverage.
There's not much we can do there, man. I mean, it's... You think about it, they had a penalty shot. Then they had like a short side, like goal line play.
Yeah.
That went
Man,
in
my voice is really
to,
annoying to listen to, isn't it, Chup?
And then how they scored a third? I think it was another penalty shot, wasn't it?
Probably. Yeah, they only had. Yeah, I was recapping the goals.
Alright. Whatever.
No, dude, it's fine.
Oh no, it was this play. This is like the only
No, we're
legit
not
goal they
losing
had.
We're not losing much CR from team. Like, it doesn't really matter.
We have to restart the club since the record's so shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, remember when we lose, you gotta. If we lose, we retire, right? Isn't that the saying?
Yeah, and we have retired, yes.
I just want to see what I was saying.
I would actually like
That'd be a 6-0
slay for
oh my god.
the thing that they got, bro. I mean, it's not that bad. Like in honesty, like that's a well organized group. It's probably the best. I mean, it's probably the best organized group that we played.
Yeah, I actually will say, yeah, that was the best team that we played 3s against, I think, ever. To be honest with you, I don't think there was a more well organized 3s team. Even like the other elite teams, right? They had they didn't have that precise level of defense and offensive transition. And they had a really locked down freaking goaltender.
No.
So TJ, how goes the playoffs over? Well, for LG, I think it's still. I think it ends today.
Play on my club.
I don't even know what the series is. I stopped paying attention. Well before I was even out. Is there anything I said after that?
I don't really care.
Oh, club finals. Actually, I don't even know. I think it's still going on, isn't it?
Dressing room unavailable.
You think it's the hardest position to play?
He's not playing.
Michael, what's up, Randy?
Yeah.
Defense.
Sorry, I just wanted to.
Idea for sixes.
Oh my god, Elite 10D.
I just want to see if there's anything I even took
Look
from
at my
that.
name now. Oh, that looks good.
I got pissed. It's like,
Oh my gosh, I didn't actually say anything. Wow. I know during the game. I think like while we were playing the next game is when I was like talking about it briefly.
Was Elite 10D's goals you let like good goal?
When there, any chemistry was so green, it was just naturally off. Like, how could it not be? You know, that's gonna be.
oh yeah, that's I mean, that's gonna happen.
Throw in there. Any player you throw in there. You're not gonna play one game fall in love. Like.
Wait, what?
Yeah, if it was okay, if we played the exact same team with this lineup here, it would be interesting to see how it plays out, because again, this is where we have the most chemistry. We had Fantilli as a guy that we played many games with.
Yes, we did. Me and you.
It would have been a very interesting game to see.
All right.
It's just the issue is, right, again, a lot of like the issues defensively and offensively were because we weren't in connection with the feeling that we had. Like, Celebrini is a really solid player. We didn't have as many games in with him.
It definitely takes time
To have that perfect like rotation
think
game.
about, like a team. You got, yeah, like you've got individual talent, and then you've got like team play. You know, like the style that you guys want to have, is the strategies you want to have, and then once that's settled, then you got chemistry. And then it's just getting reps. The more reps you get with anybody, that's how it's really gonna be.
Yeah, I would say
We just need, you know, like we would just need more chemistry with Silverini as well. Because for me, it's like I was very hesitant. Yeah, no. I mean, again, that's
not
like
worried about that team. I'm
best team
I'm
that we played.
freaking worried about that
I'm not
team.
gonna lie to you.
Dan, are you streaming?
I am, yeah.
I'm actually very worried about that team because that's the type of team where they got it on lock. Actually, they didn't technically. I think what I was referring to, didn't I? Where is my I'm trying to think where I had. I don't even think I could show it because I don't even know where it's at right now. I had like a
On the same page.
like a template that I looked at
He wasn't talking.
that like breaks down the different components to a team and stuff like that.
Seems to be a problem.
I don't know. Someone said honestly, 3s takes more chem than 6s, in my opinion.
Yeah. But
Sixes, I feel like there's like more.
Threes take wait, what was that a comment? Threes takes more
Not that there's
chemistry
more
than
options, there's
sixes.
more-
Is that what I said?
Sixes, I feel
Takes more. I don't know.
That was definitely somebody in chat.
Someone said honestly, 3s takes more chem than 6s, in my opinion.
yeah. But
sixes, I feel like.
I don't know about that one.
There's more.
What do you think on that, chat?
There's more options.
Threes takes more
dynamic, it's just really
chemistry than sixes.
different. You have to be really threes and sixes. You can kind of like. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I feel like it takes more to be on the same page with more guys you put out there, but I feel like every situation is different. Like you probably could naturally.
Yeah,
play
the
well
more
with sixes
guys you
because in
have,
general,
the
a lot of
more
it
you
isn't
have to be in
necessarily-
tune with how each other
I mean-
play. Let's say you had 100 people, and you needed to have something. It's the more numbers you add, the more it requires more chem. If it's literally you and one other person, it's easier to form a connection because it's just one person to manage. If it's 10 people, you have to see how all 10 people will react to a certain situation.
Kind of like what we were
Nah,
talking
it's
about. though, where
threes
it's
does
like
not
in
take more
sixes,
chem.
There's like this stereotype that everybody plays.
I will say threes is tougher to play because you have less help out there. But like sixes, yeah, it's easier to play because you have more help. That doesn't mean that it takes.
Yeah.
That's the reason
less
why
chem.
you could essentially probably.
No, it takes
mesh
more chem
well
to
on
make
teams
it
with
easier.
because everybody has the exact same style. Well, not really exact, but like. generally
If you're
speaking,
by yourself in
you're gonna do the
sixes and you
same
have
thing.
literally
know how to
4
naturally
other
trap,
morons on the ice that have no clue how to play the game, I think you're going to be. Yeah, I think you're going to have your hands full.
where you got to be in terms of trap. You know how you got to break in the puck, the starting point there, the cuts, the looks offensively, defensive play. Everybody kind of knows, like, generally speaking, how to play the game, so it's very easy. Well, not very easy, but, like, easier to kind of get that understanding from a sixes perspective than threes, because threes, you can play it kind of differently.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah. I'm not going to say it's, like, completely new or, like, completely different. Nice.
Oh, Jane, man, I'm telling
The hell am I even saying
Last
half the
game
time,
to
bro?
sort of go up because I didn't think it'd be, like, yeah.
No,
That's-
no, dude, are you kidding me? Like,
That's,
dude,
like, kind of the difference there.
I'm not worried about that fucking team.
Oh, yeah, I mean, neither am I. I mean, I think just, yeah, we had our best setup against the team, like, you know,
No,
Yeah,
that's
I mean, the
probably
defense
the
was
toughest team we played.
crazy enough.
And the thing is, right?
like,
Like if they
I don't know,
had,
highlighted his lifetime for that game, to be honest with you.
they could be even
Yeah.
tougher to play against.
I'm just missing hits tonight.
This is where like I wish I had access to like top esport teams films because I could break it down like instant. I mean I could break it all the way down. If we had like if I had resilience and like you know what I mean, underdogs, and I had a game to break down of them, man,
Bro,
I
what
could
is
break it
going-
down exactly what when the like how they play and everything. See, I do like this. You see how we have this guy forecheck? You see now it's a little bit more in tune. We have man to mark, you know, proper man to man coverage. We just don't have. The only thing we don't have is this player wanting to race back. How the hell did he? How was he in front of him and now all of a sudden is like 20 feet behind him? Oh, it's really because he doesn't play defense. He wants to be the first guy outlet. The only thing that I'll say is there is technically nothing wrong with that. It's just to be even a better player, right? He could be in the exact same situation he's in. If let's say if he was playing defense, we get the puck and he's already gone. Like if he can anticipate when we're getting the puck, he could still be in this situation where if we get it, he could be already 10 feet behind the guy because this guy may be slow with it. And I will say most defensemen do not react quick enough on the transition. If I'm just being dead ass, I actually don't react all that quick enough either, which I actually should be. When I'm playing sixes, there's plenty of times where I'm slow on the transition, and if a winger's leaking on the play, or he's very quick on the transition. He can get behind me very, very quickly. But if, let's say, you had a more poised defense or a winger here, he's playing defense. First of all, they're not going to find this pass, so that takes away that lane. But even still, like, let's say we're one-on-one with this guy and we take him out, he can still go from here to there very, very quickly if he can anticipate. If he gets even 2 steps on the defenseman, that's all. It's all he needs to get breakaway opportunity.
Easy reads for him.
Also, with more people on the ice, there's less chance of a weak link you have to cover for. Less people, there's more room and less bad players.
Is your center of his build anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, again, a proper 6's team, man,
game,
makes it easier to play.
Before last game.
But it's not. There's definitely way more chemistry in 6's than there is in 3's. It's so much. It's easier to form chemistry with one person than it is with, you know, five people essentially, or 4 people. Nice.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I can show it again after this game. I'm also on YouTube as well. If you want to like a better. I've got work Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
I don't think I've ever. I don't think I talk about the game after this point. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you gotta understand like what I'm getting at.
That's not good.
But I will say, again, it takes from if you can master it from a 2's perspective, that's where everything clicks. Because you don't have help when you're playing 2's. You have help when you're playing 3's, or you have help when you're playing 6's, but you do not have help when you're playing 2v2. So if you can understand the 2's and master it, you can essentially play any game mode as long as you can apply that concept to every single position that you play, which, you know, in any other game modes. That's kind of all that I really wanted to really break down.
Wow.
Here we're working on a drop pass. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Whatever. Find a lot of people coast while backtracking to get their energy back. Yeah, but there's like, yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the price that you have, right, when you're playing that. The reason too, like, that's another thing too, when you're playing 2's, man, you actually have to manage your stamina bar too, because you don't have defensive help, so you have to be the first guy back. You also have to have enough energy to manage that. The way you do that is by how quick you react to things, how quick you can anticipate things. So let's say, for example, right, you're here. It's like limiting the unnecessary movements. So let's say if I didn't get hit here, this puck's bouncing here, there would be zero reason for me to advance forward for any reason, because you know that these guys are going to get the puck. This guy's going to be turning and skating. If I can eliminate the unnecessary steps, you can then quickly get behind and ahead of people. Therefore, you can glide, get your stamina bar up even a little bit more, and then that will help you play defense. It's when people react it was when they're like constantly in motion, they're not like actually settling themselves down.
Nice.
So again, you learn that in 2's. That helps you in 3's, that helps you in 6's. The quicker you can anticipate, the quicker you can fill a role pot, you know, very, very quickly. That's going to make you a more complete player across the board. Their lack of discipline in the offensive zone puts them too deep on the transition.
Backhand?
Exactly. It's when people don't understand the role that they have to fill, or what they're trying to even read. Because again, from a 6's standpoint, you can look at it here, and there's probably a million things that we're doing unnecessarily wrong when it comes to the actual like precision of it. We're on a PK here, but like I can call out anything that's slightly out of that's like not offensive zone. We're fine there. And to play middle, it's like this, right? So you see where I'm that even little bit of me like not wanting to go up, which I mean it's like nothing special, right? But it's like just not So I'm going up. You got now blue is back. Okay. I'm not really getting a good look of that that I want to have. It's also then for offense too. Because you want to be able to, I think too, like, yeah, I'm reacting too slow. It's me that I'm actually reacting too slow here. This is the issue with a lot of 6's teams. Is that they all want to be in line with each other. So like I'm like, for me, I'm trying to wait until the defense go around the net to then go up. And wingers do the exact same thing. Or unless the puck goes up. But you see how I delay a little bit too long? Right here. Here is where it's like, all right, I should be, unless I'm like trying to play the support through the middle, which makes more sense. These guys are all forechecking. I mean, there should be zero reason I can't go here, quickly back up, fill this lane, and he just turns, if he can get this puck, or like turn this way, and then auto sauce it to me. Like if he goes this way, he goes this way. We could already be. He could have worked it. Yeah, like we're not going up, which I guess makes sense because again, you don't want to go too far up. But in this case, there's no defenseman that's like gonna drive on this, right? So it's like he could be already going up in stride. He could be working it around the boards. He may have to stop or whatever, or you could work it to Teal, have him go up. You could have these guys already in stride. You got two guys deep. That's all it takes. Like how fast you could rotate up. We don't have that quick of a rotation, I don't think. And I feel like in a lot of ways that limited us when it came to the events that we played on. We didn't have a very quick rotation because we tried to full reset it. Or we played almost every single rush like it was a full reset. And that's all. It's also also reliant on how the defensemen want to control the pace of the game too, because in some way, right? It's like if the defensemen want to settle the play down, they can do so. But it's like they also have to they also have to know like how to quickly pass it up, like how quick you could pass it up. There's gonna be teams, again, like as a center, it's not really my job to go up all the time because yeah, I mean what you're saying, Frosty, is actually right. Where I'm staying home, I'm not like trying to leave the zone early and leave the whole middle of the ice wide open in case we don't get it. But as far as wingers could be the very quick transition. So like, and actually, if you apply the concept like that, it makes sense because. Again, from a 3's perspective, it's like, all right, when you get the puck, right, the center's going to be engaged with the defense in a 3's match. When you get the puck, regardless if it's the center or defenseman, the first look that they're going to have is, all right, where's my winger? Where's my high guy? Where's he at? Is he behind the defense? Is he in an area where we could send the puck to him very quickly? That would be the wingers in this case. They're playing the point. They're playing the support. They can very quickly transition up, and it could literally just be them super quick on the damn rotation. And then the center can play high. He'll be the third forward into the zone, right? And then if you need to work it to him, you can. I do think a lot of wingers. Then that would mean that wingers are the guys that are mainly struggling with the quick transition. And see here it's fine because we're working a full rotation back. This is a little bit different from 3's because you now have to actually coordinate a proper break in. Here they have 5 guys back. So you're not going to just send it to us randomly. Although this is piss poor fucking defense. I hate seeing this, dude. Oh my gosh. That's like the biggest pet peeve I have when I'm looking at defense. Because it's like, okay, you actually didn't need to do anything. You literally could just, all right, you can just pass it to him and he's already gone. Like, what the like, that's how... I mean, literally... from this play, like we try to do too much. We're not actually reading what's open. We don't even need to full rotate it here because they're not actually playing defense properly. If you had blue very quickly, he just, he's going to go here, whatever, and then he's already darting. Imagine blue being right here already, or at least like at the red line, and you're yellow, and you just boom, darted to him. He's already run the bend. He could possibly get behind this guy very, very quickly. You see how we have to wait? We're waiting. We have so much ice to the right. Like, no, we're going to work at left and right call to get into the zone to try to set up, but now they're back. You see what I'm saying? So it's that type of offense that we're missing. That's how quick we could be. Like, that's the offense that we're missing. When it came to the events, it was really that as well, where we're trying way too much to format a break-in just because they have 5 guys back. Oh, let's give a call out. All right, guys, let's go left and right. Let's go cut in. You don't need to do that if they're not even going to play the trap right. It's like, all right, just get it up quick. Find somebody driving quickly. Like here, goalie, okay. Here we can wait if we want because the goalie has it, right? So it's like he would have taken a whistle there. I mean, yeah, like yeah, that's kind of the frustrating bit a little bit because I think what we're actually doing, and it's kind of just what kind of screwed me too. Because I'm always thinking like, all right, every time I get the puck and the team is set up in their trap, quote unquote, set up in their trap, that's when we have to give a call out, have to give something, go through our reprogression that way. We all have to be even. There was nobody going with speed into the zone. We all had to wait for us to get to top speed. It's like nobody was just like driving, like these teams are not good enough for us to have to respect them to give a fucking call out. That's actually, the more I think about it, like I was not in tune with like how quick you could actually play the game. Because I was like mainly just playing 6s. I wasn't even playing 3s and shit like that. Like, I don't know, to me that's a little bit more fucking frustrating. Because for us, we're actually way too slow, man. We are. Like we are way too slow. And that's like every team. It's like they're all trying to model what is being done at the top level, but they don't actually know what goes into that. If you watch the top esports teams, the reason they reset is because they have a proper trap set. The reason they reset is because they didn't have anybody going with speed. As soon as they have somebody that can go with speed down the boards or right through the middle, they're filling that gap very quickly. Some teams do it. It's just people are like, all right, oh, these guys are doing a trap. Oh, these guys are trapping every play. Oh, these guys are full on resetting every play. That don't fucking matter. These guys are not. Nobody's actually playing outstanding defense in this at this point right now. Like to where like we need to respect their trap. They're not even playing trap. How fast we need to move is like. But it's really like it's like a habit. It's almost like we're forming a bad habit. Where it's like, oh, we have to full reset it now. Well, we have to give a call out. We have to. No, we don't. If we had guys that had just had the offensive mindset, oh, I'm open right side. They're not gonna have me. Like that's how quick it needs to be. And you get that from 3s. You get that from 2s. If you train that in 2s, man, and then you go to 6s, you know what I mean? You could have a team jump a well-organized 6s team that is just not very quick with their transition game. That's the only issue. And I've honestly seen it. I just never put too much thought into it. I was here earlier, asked about the Discord. Should I go to Twitch? No, it's on my YouTube channel. You can go. It's the same channel name as the one I have here. If you go to YouTube, It should be like in the channel homepage. There should be links that you can see. It's like right on the main page, or it's like in any one of my videos too. It's in the description of it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like it's not like a big issue, but it's like how just a tad bit too slow. I feel like, and that could be lag. That could be a lot of things, right? It's just maybe we're not seeing it, or it's just we're not training ourselves to see it. We're not going through the proper read. And that's also why I wasn't like when I was playing Wing, I wasn't necessarily in tune with that either. If I were to play Wing now, it'd probably be a little bit different. Cause I now I would be like, oh, send it to me up the boards. I'm gonna be freaking going very quickly. I'd be cherry picking every single fucking play. Which actually does make sense. Like as a center, I was thinking, all right, how can I do it as a center? You wouldn't do it as a center in sixes because you do have to play, again, it's that center role. Third guy into the zone, first forward back, right? You're not gonna cherry pick as a fucking center. It doesn't make any sense. Just like in threes, you wouldn't have the center role be the first guy out of the zone, right? It just doesn't make any sense. You have to have at least some kind of coverage in the back. Or at least some help in the back, right? Let's see here. How quick can I move? Okay, good ass offense there. Forechecking. See, that's where the forecheck creates offense. We can then get it. We do have a rotation. I could actually forecheck if I wanted to. I decided well, we are up in the game, so it makes sense not to. But again, against this team, we're not like playing against like really solid teams. Like we could literally just be forechecking like crazy, man. Even when we're trying to play, well, I guess that was fine there. Finding too many people trying to be heroes, holding on to the puck too long. That is another true thing as well. There's plenty of opportunities where we can find like quick one-timer plays, and we're just choosing not to find it. Like we have a gold 1T with blue, and I think we only found it like one time all night. Like I don't think we ever really found it. You know, like the gameplay here don't really matter. I'm just trying to give like a a concept. Like I'm just trying to incorporate the concept to sixes. I imagine they move the puck quick off their stick too. Yeah. Yeah, it's like we're trying too much to be like again, we're trying to be too like even with these guys. Like, oh, we don't want to be too far away from the defenseman. But like for me, I can do that. But wingers could jump the route very quickly. Like that's just gonna put it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's fine at certain times. It's like it's almost like you want wingers to be more offensive in offensive situations, and you want them to be a little bit more defensive in other situations. Like, man, it's tough to explain when you really think about it, because again, if you're very much thinking about offense, you're not going to really think about how important defense is. I fucking misplayed that. First of all, I don't know what happened to. See, defensively, shot, got blocked on man marking there, and then I think I poke checked and tripped the guy. Didn't we give up like? Okay, no, I don't think it was this game, was it? Yeah, no. Oh wait, actually, it totally was. Gave up like 3 goals in 30 seconds. So because it was 4-on-4, I'm not out yet. Oh my god, it's 4-on-4 still. they score again. And then they tied it when I think it was 4-4. What the fuck happened? No, that's actually insane. Wait, what actually happened? 30 seconds, they literally score. Less than 20 seconds, they got 3 goals. I wasn't even on the ice. How's that possible? They just drive right in. Like 4-on-4 is kind of unique because you don't see that unless it's unless it's 6-on-6. How the hell? When you play 4-on-4, just do what Eddie Olczyk says. Forwards have the D have the forwards. That's how it should be. You could even play it like a PK almost, where you have like one of the forwards play back or play to the middle and have like a high forward, sort of like central forward, and then the 2 defensemen. So you have a little bit more extra control to the middle. 4-on-4, all of a sudden it's like they just drive in and they're scoring. Like you have 3 guys chasing. How? That's not, yeah, that's just, we're not properly, we don't even understand what we're doing. That was the only thing there. Yeah, and then they're just transitioning quickly. That's all it is. So I think during this I was like talking about something, and I look up and all of a sudden it's 4-4. I'm like, wait a minute. Now I'm back on the fucking ice. Like, how? And then now I'm playing like I'm trying to leak out the zone early. I think we did score here, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we scored very quickly. Shot off the side on that. Forechecking. Oh, if you think very quickly, right there, maybe not. Forecheck, get the puck. We eventually do get it. Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of weird. All of a sudden, it's like tie game after like literally 30 seconds of 4-on-4. 0 passes to the defense there. What here? Well, there was a pass there. Here, though, I mean, if you can control it down low, you don't have to swing it to the point unnecessarily. It's only you only use the point when like everything down low is covered. So he has this, so there's no issue there. I feel like he probably could have found me like very quickly off the turn to find something. These guys are all kind of clogging the middle though, so maybe not. He could have worked to the point, to be honest, to try to get him to move away from the slot. Try to do a little LT pivot move shot. We just continue with it. We get the puck bounce off the full pressure, and that's how we score. I don't know. It's not an issue, to be honest. I mean, it's just, yeah, there are times where we could pass it to the point, probably. But, yeah, we probably missed it a few times. But, all right. I think that's it, honestly. Well, yeah, if there is any questions on that, I don't know if anybody decided to stay the full 2 hours, basically. If you did, I highly appreciate it. If you're watching it back, same thing. Maybe you just skipped around, but basically, if you play 2s, you'll have a better understanding of that. If you understand the concept of 2s and you can apply it to 3s, you can apply it to 6s. You understand the role of each player within each game mode from that concept, you can be a very complete player across the board. If you grind 2s, you find one other person, you form chemistry like that, I mean, you could really be a nice, solid, complete player. As long as you're going through the reads correctly, you understand it. You train in 2s and you can understand that. I mean, you've got the stepping stones to really be a solid player. Like for me, I never really played 2s, so that concept really didn't make much sense to me. I always just thought, hey, just play 3s, you know? I had the concept understood. I just didn't really understand it. And honestly, you could just take it from 3s to 6s and you don't really have to necessarily apply it to 2s, but 2s makes it a little bit tougher to play. And if you play another elite team in 2s, I think that's a greater like depiction of the talent level within that group if whoever wins that game. Not necessarily off the bounce. It's not off of whether the AI is going to play to that speed. It's going to be like, all right, do you master the concept and how good are you really? Because it's really just straight man-to-man coverage. There's no help from the defense. You have to play defense. You have to play offense. You have to man mark. You have to rotate. You have to transition. It has to be done very quickly while managing the stamina bar. I think 2's is a little bit tougher to play than any other game mode. That's just my opinion. But you guys let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I should be live tomorrow with some gameplay. Might play 6's, I'm not sure. We'll see what's going on. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys next time.